Daniel Hubatch. This is going to be the very start of a small video series that I'm starting here. Perhaps it's not so small because it's going to go on for quite a while. I want to share my journey towards becoming an actor through these weekly little videos here. I was born in California, but my mom moved back to Wisconsin when I was 2 years old, so that's why I'm going to be titling this The Wisconsin Actor. And while I'm sure I'll end up moving out of Wisconsin as my career grows, right now I'm in Wisconsin, and I hear a lot of people saying that there's no way to build or start an acting career from a remote, highly uncultural place, as some people would consider it, as northern Wisconsin out in the sticks. And I disagree with that, and I've had acting coaches who I've spoken with also disagree with that. Because we're at a point now where most of your auditions are going to be self-tape auditions, where you're going to be filming them yourself anyway. So I can literally, if the casting producers are open to it, I can literally audition for anything in the world from right here. And as long as I put up the right setup and I know what I'm doing, I can be successful doing it. Now, of course, I haven't proven that myself yet, but that's what this channel is about, is proving that you don't have to start off living in LA or New York or Philadelphia. You don't have to go get yourself a BFA or go to Juilliard or any of that to make this work for you. Because that's where I plan on taking it. I plan on taking it to the top. My dream is to become an action actor, the rank of Keanu Reeves and Hugh Jackman and Tom Cruise. I'm going to put my name up there. It's going to be up there. And it's going to be Eugene Hubatch too, so keep an eye out for that name in the future. But right now I'm just at the very tip of the pyramid. And we're going to continue to grow that. Now, I started my acting career when I was in high school. My first high school plays really got me into it, and I discovered that I loved acting, and I continued to try to grow that. And I fell off the bandwagon a lot. And then I got breaks sometimes, like my first SAG production, which was up in Grand Marais, Minnesota, which is about 3 hours north of where I live right now. Very, very boreal up there, which is to say winter climate. But, yeah, that was my first SAG production up there. I got a lucky break on that through some friends who notified me of it. Now I'm SAG eligible, although I'm holding back on becoming a SAG union actor, just because I want to still be able to do some non-union stuff. But I did hear a tip recently from a friend that there is another way to be in SAG-AFTRA union without having to get rid of doing non-union work. Because the common conception is, and it's promoted by SAG, is that if you join SAG, you can no longer do non-union work. And if you're just regular SAG-AFTRA union member, that's true. But you can become what's called a FICOR member, which is still part of SAG, but as FICOR, you can do non-union work while still getting the union benefits, which is pretty awesome. So, anyway, yeah, we're going to dive into this here, and I just want to share with you guys what I'm doing to network, stay connected with the acting community, which is obviously a challenge as I'm out here in the sticks of Wisconsin, where, you know, the nearest entertainment industry hub is in the Twin Cities, which really isn't that far away. It's only like 2 hours away from here. But yeah, I want to show you guys what I'm doing, social media platforms and resources that I'm using, how I'm applying for roles, some communities that I'm part of that are helping to support me and push me through and make me a better actor, keep me engaged, because that's really the big thing. If you're going to try to become an actor from Wisconsin, you need to be able to stay engaged, because it's hard to stay engaged when you're so remote from everything. But I'll show you guys kind of some stuff I'm doing to do that, tell you about the education that I'm taking right now, and suggest some classes that I'm really enjoying at the moment. Tell you some of the insider tips that I'm picking up from people. I mean, things that you just wouldn't pick up unless you knew somebody on the inside who's also gone through the hard times and figured these things out the hard way. You know, it's about who you know as much as it is about your own skill level. things like what I'm reading, and I'm also going to share things like pieces of psychology that I come across, or ideas that I come across that make sense for me within the psychology of acting, how to become a better actor, how to see the characters better, how to understand the characters better. Because I have these things come to me, and I just feel like sharing them. And I have one today that I'm going to share that's called the drama triangle. We'll get to that in a little bit. And then I'm also just going to talk about my status a little bit. You know, I don't know if anybody cares about how I'm doing or, you know, the direction I feel I'm going in. But I don't care if people don't care. I'm going to put it out there anyway for my own benefit, to keep myself accountable. So, let's start off at the top of this list, networking and staying connected. Like I said, networking and staying connected feels like the most important thing for me, being out in the sticks, away from any big entertainment hubs, when it's difficult to bring myself into those situations. You know, really the only connection that I have with the entertainment industry is a virtual connection through, you know, doing my self-tapes and stuff. The internet is really my only connection to it. Without it, I would be completely remote, living in an Amish paradise. But anyway, starting off with networking and staying connected. Auditions. How am I booking auditions? I booked 3 auditions in last week, which I got done. And I booked those through Backstage.com. Now, I very first started off with Backstage. I've had Backstage for several years, and I haven't actually booked an official job off of Backstage yet. And the more I talk to other actors and people who have been in the industry for a long time and coaches, they say Backstage is okay. Backstage is kind of like your beginner platform, I think. On there, you'll see a lot of advertisements for indie productions, a lot of advertisements for student films, for small, ultra low budget SAG films. You don't usually see anything big. You don't see any big names. You don't really usually see any big companies. I've seen some Marvelous Mrs. Maisel auditions pop up on there, but that's just for background roles and extra roles and stuff like that. So you're going to find a lot of extra work on Backstage. And if you're lucky enough to be around somewhere like LA, New York, Philadelphia, and able to support yourself there at the same time, then it would probably be valuable to have that resource, because you can actually go do those extra gigs if you want to and have it be affordable. But anyway, Backstage is really nice. I love the way it's set up. Their pricing plan is fair. It's like $20 a month on average. They have biannual and annual billing, so they don't have a monthly billing option. But I do like it for finding classes and smaller indie productions. I found some local productions through them. But the two that I'm being told consistently that I need to get into is Actors Access and Casting Networks. And I've looked a little bit on what they have on them. There's definitely more professional grade jobs available on those two platforms. Now, I can't speak very much to Actors Access or Casting Networks yet because I don't have them myself yet. I have built my free profiles, and I just haven't committed to a premium profile yet because I don't have the funds to do it at the moment because I've sunk a lot of money into classes. But as soon as I have the funds to do that, I'm definitely going to invest. Actors Access is a little bit more expensive than Backstage. It's $10 a month, which is cheaper in that way, but you have to spend $10 per picture to, if you want to upload pictures onto Actors Access, you have to pay for them. So you do get 2 free pictures that you can change out whenever you want, but then after that, if you want to add any extra pictures, you're going to pay $10 per picture. And then if you want to put video footage up, this is where they really get you, it's $22 per minute of video footage. So, you know, if you have 10 minutes of video, you're talking $220 right there. Ouch. Of course, on average, you're not going to be putting up $10 of footage. You know, your footage is going to be, for commercial stuff, maybe a minute, 30 seconds to a minute. Maybe for a more dramatic monologue, if you want to show that sort of thing. Or if you have a nice compiled reel that you want to put up there, you're talking maybe 3 minutes. But still, that gets fairly expensive. You're talking about $66 to put up 3 minutes of footage. So Actors Access is expensive in that way. Casting Networks is $25 a month. They have great content. They have a great setup, very similar to Backstage. But the thing about them is you do have to pay for some of your media too, but I haven't really looked into that yet, so I can't speak to it too much. But I am looking forward to getting those two done, even though it will cost me a little bit. I think it's going to be, it's going to give me access to much better productions. Another great thing you can do is on social media, especially Facebook, you can find groups, actors groups, producers groups, casting call groups, and I've got a list here for anybody who's living in the Minnesota and Wisconsin area. If you're looking for work, I would definitely check out these Facebook pages. First of all, at the top of my list is Actors Green Room. Now, it's a little off topic because Actors Green Room is not specifically for the Minnesota and Wisconsin area. That covers the entire United States, but that's a really good support group that you can go to. There are highly top-ranked professionals leading that group, including Jen Rudolph and Natalie Roy. And, you know, honestly, I'm not sure what Jen has been in, but just considering her skill level, I know she's been in stuff. I just haven't taken the time to look it up. Natalie Roy has got some pretty awesome stuff coming her way, and we'll talk about her in a little bit too. But for Facebook pages, definitely check out Actors Green Room. You know, go on there, tell them that you're interested in, you know, acting. Make sure that they know you're serious about it, because they're a serious group. And yeah, you can find some great information on there. You can ask questions. You can find good classes are going to be posted on there and stuff too. All right. Now, specifically for the Minnesota area, I would check out TC Twin Cities Cinematics and Auditions. Type that in. That's not the exact wording for it, but yeah, I would type that in to Facebook groups and look that up and follow them or join the group, however that works, because they post a lot of stuff on there. And most of the things that are going on in Minnesota are going to be posted on that Twin Cities Cinematics and Auditions page. There's a bunch of other pages too that are based in the Twin Cities and greater Minnesota area. But those same pages get most of the same content and opportunities posted on them. So if you're following TC Cinematics and Auditions, you're pretty much covered, I've noticed. But there are a few others. There's Duluth, Minnesota Producers and Auditions. You might get some different stuff on there. So yeah, you can check that one out. There's also Actors of Wisconsin. You can check them out. That's the exact wording there. Actors of Wisconsin. And that page is based down in the Milwaukee area. So if you're in the Milwaukee area and you're looking for acting opportunities, there are a lot of stuff is going to get posted on Actors of Wisconsin for that. But yeah, those pages, and you'll find a lot more too if you're just looking for acting and producer pages in the Minnesota area. You're going to get a lot of local productions, indie productions, some SAG work as well. And there are some feature films being produced in that area too. You'd be surprised. There's more than you think being produced there. At least there was more than I thought. Another good thing you can do is find some good communities. There's AGR, Actors Green Room, like I mentioned, but there's also a really great one that I'm part of that you do have to pay a subscription for, but there's great benefits to it. It's called the Action Takers Community, and it was put together by a production company called Magic Juju Productions. And Juju there is spelled Joojoo. I've messed up searching for it on the internet by spelling it Ju instead of J. Excuse me, instead of Joo. So yeah, if you want to take a look at the Action Takers Community, it's a great community. It does cost about $25 a month to be a part of, but you get weekly prompts and tools to help push you forward in your acting career, and a great community of people, friendly people who are very creative themselves and are going to just help push you and inspire you to become a better actor. And one of the great things I love is that every Monday they put out a prompt, usually a challenge, like almost like a monologue challenge or a scene challenge, where they give you some inspiration and framework to follow, and then you try to get something produced. You find it underneath the genre that you're going to do, you adapt it how you want it to be done, or how the guidelines and the challenge show you how to do it, or ask you how to do it. You get it memorized, you get it produced, you film it, and then you can post it on the community chat. And we try to get that stuff done by Fridays. We call Fridays our Showcase Fridays. And I actually missed the last one because I was so busy with other stuff that I was working on. But I'm definitely going to hit up this next one coming up this week. And the one I did the week before for the beginning of October was called Dracula's Wish, which I will, you can find on my Facebook page here, or I'll put a link down in the description below if you want to check that one out. It dives into the trials and tribulations of immortality and Dracula's secret wish to end it all. So it gets kind of deep in that way. It's a little bit longer, about 11 minutes. But if you want to check it out, it is there. But yeah, I would definitely check out that community. You know, go to magicjuju.com. Again, that's J-O-O is how you spell juju there. And look for their community tab at the bottom of their page. And check that out, because there's also good resources in there too for actors. Education. What am I doing for my education right now to grow myself as an actor? Now, I specifically said I am not interested in going to Juilliard. I am not interested in spending $80,000 on a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree. Why? Because I don't think you need it. You know, I've had coaches who have told me that they've never... You know, when you go on set, they don't ask you where you went to college, right? The only thing that BFA stamp on your resume tells them is that, okay, you invested some money in this. And that's definitely important because you want the producers to know that you have committed to this and that you're serious about it and you're trying to be a professional, that you are a professional. But you don't have to spend that much money to do it. So I've got some cool classes that I'm taking right now. One of them is Mike Pointer's Level 1 Zoom class. This is a class that's held on Zoom. Mike Pointer is based in Los Angeles, California, and he owns the company Hey, I Saw Your Commercial, which you can check out at heyisawyourcommercial.com. He's got some great content on there, and I've been learning great stuff from him. I'm taking that class right now here in October, and we're learning right now how to audition properly on Zoom, because it's a big thing auditioning on Zoom now, so it's definitely something to get used to. And we're learning proper techniques and etiquette for doing that, and we're also learning proper commercial acting technique. Because I figured the very first step in my acting career here is going to be to try to get into commercials and do commercial work first, make sure I like the industry before I really dive in, but the ultimate goal is to make my way into theatrical work and dramas and action-adventure films, and that's really where I want to sink my roots, is action-adventure. But yeah, I would definitely check out Mike Pointer's Level 1 Zoom class for commercials. He will teach you how to get an agent, teach you how to audition properly, teach you some techniques for commercial acting. I got another class with him coming up tomorrow I'm really looking forward to. Another notable name that I am taking classes from is Natalie Roy. Told you we'd talk about her. If you don't know, Natalie Roy starred alongside... Oh, what was his name? She starred in the commercial Match, or Match Made in Hell it was called, which is for the dating app company Match. Natalie Roy played 2020, the year 2020, as dating Satan, and let's see. I'm just looking up what was the cast of that, 'cause I'm trying to remember what the gentleman who played Satan. I'm trying to remember what his name was. Ah, there it is. Aaron Reed. Aaron Reed played Satan in that, and he's a gigantic bodybuilder. Something like 6 foot something, 300 pounds, big guy. But anyway, so they starred together in that film, which was produced by Ryan Reynolds' company, Maximum Effort. I don't know if he directed it himself, but it was created by his company. So I think that's kind of cool. I get to have classes with someone who's connected to Ryan Reynolds, and he's an awesome actor. I love the fact that he can be both comedic, he does really good action, but he can be very comedic while he's doing it, and of course that's displayed so perfectly in his personification of Deadpool. He just does that spectacularly. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to classes with her. I'm doing her 2% booking method class, which set me back financially a little bit because it's like $2,000 to do that class. But the thing that I've been realizing about my investment into the education part of this is that it's going to be some of the big advantages that are going to come from that class are, of course, going to be the content that I'm going to learn, the techniques I'm going to learn for getting booked and for auditioning properly, and just everything that's going to come within that package. But one of the best things in that package is being able to put Natalie Roy's name on my resume, because that's going to reverberate a little bit more than, say, going to the Guthrie Theater in the Twin Cities and getting education from someone there, which I have done. And they're, of course, wonderful actors, wonderful performers and everything, but they're outside of the screen acting industry, and that Natalie's name is just going to be more potent on there. But what that also tells a casting producer when they look at my resume is they see, okay, this guy has sunk some serious money into this career that he's looking to build professionally, to be a professional actor. And seeing your commitment, your time commitment, your financial commitment, it shows them the kind of commitment they can expect from you in their production. So, I think that's going to be very important. But yeah, those are some of the classes I'm taking. I'm also taking a monologue matching class, which is only a 2-day class, by Robin Parrish. She helps to match up perfect monologues for you. Take a look at your type, and your personality and your look and everything, which all piles up into your type. But she can take a professional look at that and help match a perfect monologue to you. So day one, we're going to be doing, we can take a monologue you already have, and she'll help us perfect it. That's only going to be a class of 8 people, which is a really nice small class. And then the second day, second class, we're going to do, she's going to help us find a perfect monologue for us, one that's specifically great for us and our type. So I'm really looking forward to that, because that's always kind of a question for an actor, is what is my type, and do I really know what my type is? Because I think I do. I'd love to be an action star, you know, but is that my type? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. All right. So I'd like to share some of the things that I'm learning right now. Really exciting things that I'm getting from my classes that have kind of blown me away a little bit. I also want to do some posts, some shorts, in which I just show you guys kind of a hot tip that I've come across. Because sometimes just talking to these people on the phone, just having a conversation, sometimes they'll let something drop, and it's like, ah, look at that. There's a piece of information that's going to become valuable to me. Like I was talking to one of my a gal the other day who helped to get me in contact with Natalie Roy to take her classes, and she said, you know, never to do stock images, right? And I was like, stock images. Okay, those are the pictures that you can use for free, royalty-free, or sometimes you have to pay for them, but they're royalty-free. You can use them for whatever you want on the internet to build your website, all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, okay, stock images. And she said, never, ever do those. She said, because then what happens is that you lose the power, your control over your media. And somebody can use that picture of you on their website for, you know, God knows what. They could use it for pornography. They could use it for a drug addict. They could just make you look bad, and you don't want that. You don't want the wrong perception being attached to your image. Because this thing right here, your face, your personality, that's your brand. You don't want somebody to screw that up on you, because that could really ruin what you can get into. So she let that drop, and I snatched that up. I didn't know that before she told me that. But yeah, I've got a list of things like that going, and I'm going to be sharing with you. You got a freebie there, but if you want to see the rest of them, you'll have to follow me and keep an eye on my shorts. Hopefully, I can figure out a schedule for when I'm coming out with those. I don't have that yet. But anyway, one of the big things I learned was proper audition etiquette for commercials. This is going to get deep for a minute, so pay attention here. So the proper way to audition for a commercial is different than auditioning for theatrical stuff. And this was really, I don't know, it caught me off guard. So when you go in there, like when I go into a A theater audition, you go in there with, you have monologue memorized, you're going to go in there and say, hello, my name's Daniel Hubatch, thank you so much for seeing today. This is my monologue from blah, 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 whatever your monologue is from. And then you do your monologue, and then you say thank you, and maybe they ask you some questions, and then you leave, and you hope you get called back. Well, when you go to audition for a commercial, it's a little bit different. You're going to get in that room, they're going to ask you what your name is, and you're going to say, hello, my name is Daniel Hubatch. And you make sure to be very confident and very precise with that. Don't upspeak, hello, my name is Daniel Hubatch. They don't want to hear that. It makes you sound unconfident. So that was one thing that I learned. You want to be very definitive and precise. And then they're going to ask you a really weird question. And if you're lucky, all they're going to ask is, tell us a little bit about yourself. And when they ask you that question, they're not asking you about your career. They don't want to hear anything whatsoever about your acting career. Nothing. Nothing. They don't want to hear about it. If they wanted to hear about it, they'd ask you to read them your resume. And they already have your resume in hand, so they don't want to know that information. They already know it. What they're asking you, basically, is, why do your best friends like you? They want to hear just like a little story, a little bit about you that you can be really enthusiastic about. You know, something that you really love. Oh, I love flowers. Flowers are just my favorite. I love the beauty of flowers. I love all the anatomical parts of the flowers, like how the sepals and the petals are really two different things, but they can look almost exactly the same, like in a lily. A lily flower looks like it has 6 petals, but really it only has 3 petals, because it has 3 real petals, and then it has another 3 things that look like petals, but they're actually sepals, and they have the exact same color and texture and everything, and you just get really into it. And you want that to be maybe 30 seconds, maybe 60 seconds, but no less than 15 seconds. And there's some very rigid markers right there for you to try to keep track of in your head. But it is better to make your little story about yourself too long rather than too short. Because if you're going and you're talking about it and you're really happy and you're really going at it, when they want you to stop, they're going to be like, hey, can you tell us your name again? And that's how they're going to stop you. They're going to cut you off like that if you just keep on going. And then you say thank you. This is big. The acting coach is really heavy on this. You always make sure to say thank you, and then you say your name. Thank you, Daniel Hubatch. And you don't say thanks, because the psychological difference between thanks and thank you is a big thing. When you say just thanks, when somebody texts you back, thanks, I got the milk, thanks. Well, I got the milk, thank you, sounds and feels much better. You feel like you're more appreciated. And you definitely want to send that message across the director's table there. Make sure that they know that you appreciate them taking the time to watch you perform for them. And then that might be the end of it. Or they might ask you some other questions, but I'm not going to dive into that right now. I can talk about that another time. But yeah, that initial question is one that you can prepare for. Because you can go, you can have a prepared response to that if you want. But then they will ask you different questions sometimes too. It won't necessarily be the tell us a little bit about yourself question. It might be they throw something out there like, what's your favorite kind of food? And what you do not want to do, absolutely do not want to do, is go, oh, I don't know, let me think. And then, sit there in silence for a few minutes, feeling very awkward and trying to think of what your favorite food is. And then go, well, sandwiches are okay. I kind of like sandwiches. No, that's not what you want. What you want is to just explode with energy. And that was a big message that the coach was trying to get across with that. Because you had people in the class who were like, oh boy, I don't know, and they wanted to think about it for a minute and give an honest answer. And that's okay. I mean, it's okay to want to give an honest answer, but not in this situation. Because if you try to just give an honest answer and if you stall, that's not what they're looking for. They'd actually rather that you made it up on the spot. What if you don't have a favorite food, which I think everybody does, but let's say maybe they asked you, what's the worst date you've ever been on? Yeah, I can get that personal and that uncomfortable. And then you go, oh, I've never had a bad date. Well, if you're lucky enough that you've never had a bad date, then make one up. Make one up. Just make one up on the spot. Totally invent it. Improvise the whole thing. Because what they really want to do is see, and make it funny too. That's very important. I know we're talking about a bad date, but you don't want to be depressed. because you never see a depressed person on a commercial ever, right? Unless they're selling an antidepressant. But in the end, the depressed person always becomes happy again thanks to the antidepressant, right? So the commercial always ends happy because they're selling the product by selling a feeling, you know? You sell the product by selling a feeling. You know, if you buy this product, you will feel great. That's what they're selling, is a feeling. So whatever your answer is, make sure it's a happy answer. And it takes you to a place that is just dripping in honey and sweetness, which if you're like me, is a little too fruitsy, but that's okay, it works. But anyway, yeah, that's some of the stuff that I am learning right now, and just things like that I'm learning from these classes. This is specifically from Mike Pointer's class, and I don't want to give you everything, because if you really want to learn the information, go take his class. But yeah, it's just some of the stuff I'm coming across that's just awesome material. And if you're serious, take the classes. His class is $210, and he offers you a 5-week payment plan of $42 per week, which I'm doing, and it's awesome. So what am I reading? So we were talking a little bit about auditioning, and part of that auditioning process with commercials, if they ask you a question like that, part of what they're doing is seeing if you can listen properly to the questions they're answering you. The questions that they're asking you. And they want to see if you respond to them appropriately and know whether or not you are paying attention, whether or not you can listen as well as you can talk. And the reason they want to test that is because it's very important to be able to take direction on set in the moment. And it's kind of a test to see how well you take direction. So when they ask you, tell us a little bit about yourself, they're not asking you, tell us about your career. So if you reel off and you tell them all about your career, when they ask you that question, tell us a little bit about yourself, that immediately tells them that you weren't really paying attention. And you didn't take their direction very well. So that might end up pushing you to the back of the line or tossing your resume to the side. And one way that you can learn to really help pay attention to what they're saying is to, for one thing, pay attention. But what I've been liking to do lately is these whodunit puzzles. These are little 5-minute crime buster mini mysteries, and it only takes about 5 minutes to read these things, because this book is full of, 100 of these little stories. And these are written by Jim Sukach. I think that's how you say it. It's spelled S-U-K-A-C-H. And yeah, I like popping down when I'm getting tired during the day and just flop down on the couch and read through one of these and try to solve the mystery, because of course the answers are hidden within the 4 paragraphs that are here, and you really got to pay attention to what's being said. But yeah, I would highly suggest you get your hands on one of these books. This one was only $6.95. You can look them up on Amazon. I'll actually put a product link down here so you guys can find that more easily. But yeah, these whodunit puzzles, or you can find the 5-minute crime buster puzzles. Those are 2 different authors. They're really great, and they are very enjoyable and help you develop a more detective-like mind and pick out the little details and stuff. Especially, when it comes to reading script, it also helps there to be able to pick out the little details. It gets you closer to the character, helps you to understand what's going on better. So, definitely suggest exercising your brain on these things. Alright, so that'll about do it. I don't know how many minutes I'm at, because I've just been enjoying myself rambling on here. And I don't know if you've been enjoying yourself listening to it or not, or if you've picked up any important information. But I do want you to know that if you are a young actor or an older actor trying to get yourself going, and you're living in Wisconsin or in another state where there's just nothing, and you feel like you can't do it, you can. You can. Sorry, the camera cut me off there, and I had to switch over cameras. But anyway, so if you are a young actor who is trying to make it in Wisconsin, I want you to know that you're not the only person out there, and that I certainly don't think it's impossible to do. And that I've had coaches tell me that it is possible to start your acting career from anywhere in the world right now, because self-tape auditions are such a big thing thanks to, COVID and the height of technology, and everybody's got a cell phone now. And we have this capability to do this now, and it's probably going to stick around forever now because it's so convenient. So yeah, we've all got a shot at this, and I know I'm going to take it all the way. So I hope that you picked up on some things in this, and I hope that I don't know, maybe you enjoyed it? I don't know. You're just listening to me talk anyway, right? But I will see you guys next time. I'm going to come out next week with another one of these. I'm going to try to come out with some shorts this week on tips that I have picked up, and we'll just keep on adding to this little vlog here, taking you guys along the journey to becoming an actor. Alright, I will see you next time, so until next week, take care, and keep pounding the dream. Stay down.